Rorschach's Journal, August 9th, 2013. Slept on park bench. Feel slightly depressed. These woods are afraid of me. I've seen their true face. Why are there so few of us left? Without personality disorders. All the mammals will look up and squeak, "Save us!" And I'll whisper, dinner.
We're talking about Watchmen. We should really talk about the difference between the director's cut theatrical version.
Right.
Because there are a lot of differences. We have the Rorschach moment at the beginning, which is just complete bullshit.
Fucking stupid.
Take 3 shots before he jumps out the window without any grappling.
And he's like a fucking ghost or something. That was so out of place with the film.
Yeah.
It was like all mystery, and the guy was like looking like, fuck.
Right.
It didn't make any goddamn sense through the rest of the film.
No, and if you haven't seen it, go fucking watch it. It's on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah,
That's the worst part of the director's cut.
It really is.
It's supposed to be not a superhero movie. We see a few times where they do have that at the end. The final fight scene is just...
You're talking about with Adrian Veidt.
Yeah.
And he's just beating the shit out of these people. Because it seems like the smartest man in the world is also the strongest man in the world, the way he's established. It's like he has like super strength. And it's like okay because he's smart. Kind of didn't make sense to me.
I think it makes sense, but the problem is that he doesn't look the part. It's almost like they miscast him, but I like the actor. The other problem is the suit. The suit just looks fucking terrible.
I liked it better when he didn't have the eye things on. Flashback, those just kind of like, I'm like, those look stupid.
I don't really care about the eyes or not, because that's more from the graphic novel.
Yeah.
That's fine in my opinion.
You don't like the mainstream modern design?
No, it's terrible, because it goes against his character fundamentally, because you see in the graphic novel this purple and gold, and now it's just like this monotone black purple shit that doesn't really give it any character, whereas with purple and gold, they're complementary colors. There's a reason for that, and they took that out primarily from his costume, so you don't feel that sense of contradiction within his character. It really, all of the characters are dumbed down, but his is dumbed down probably the most.
Yeah. He's still an effective villain, and you know, it doesn't really destroy his character all that much.
Sure.
Even in the beginning, when Adrian Veidt throws like the comedian was still built like a fucking tank. Adrian Veidt like tossed him through a window, and they don't really explain that. They don't even explain it in the comic book either, because
they absolutely do explain it.
Right, and that was brushed over, like not even.
I mean, you couldn't go into it in the movie, but it's another reason why the graphic novel is superior in story.
Right.
Adrian was built for that. You know, he already got defeated by the comedian in the graphic novel once.
Right.
So he specifically trained so that that wouldn't happen again. But speaking of the ending, we have to talk about why they changed the squid.
Yeah, the squid monster, the giant squid monster.
They made Dr. Manhattan the one who caused the millions of people killed. For a movie, it really ties in the movie together because you don't have an outside force that changes themes. You know, in the graphic novel, you could explore all of these themes in much greater detail, but you only have so many themes to work with for a movie. So they had to tie in the characters together. I think that was a good decision.
I also think that because it's, you know, a film, the giant squid thing would probably be really weird. In the graphic novel medium, you can get away with that sort of shit.
Sure.
But in a film, the way that they established it, and they didn't give no hints to that.
It would have been just like Godzilla appearing out of nowhere.
Exactly.
And be like, what the fuck did this come from?
Yeah, exactly. It's been fucking weird. And I'm glad they changed it, because I remember when I first was watching this film in the theater, I was like, I wonder how they're going to do the ending, because that was a fucking weird ending.
And I didn't know about the ending, so I was just like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I could see how it forces Dr. Manhattan away then, because he's just like, fuck this shit, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
So it's also predictable that Veight's the villain in this. You know, you hardly have any scenes with him, and he's supposed to be one of the supporting characters.
Right, yeah. Because who else could it fucking be, really?
Right.
Know? Yeah, and in the graphic novel, I mean, that shit was all over the place.
Well, when you have a movie that's like really you've got just a few characters and you're trying to investigate who's the one at fault here, try to go into every one of them in equal detail so you don't really know. And Glenn Ross did that. Yeah, we'll review that next.
You would be like, no, Night Owl's not the bad guy, Rorschach's not the
Right,
bad guy. We know
obviously.
too much about these guys.
Right.
Comedian's dead, and next to our Dr. Manhattan, and he's doing his own shit.
And
so,
Laurie.
Oh God, who's it gonna be? Oh,
It's gonna be Moloch.
Oh
Moloch's
shit,
back.
Moloch's back. Holy shit.
He's got cancer and he's got nothing left to
Yeah,
lose.
and he's a fucking zombie.
Zombie
Moloch.
apocalypse.
Yeah, Moloch.
Moloch, when he's in the deleted scene with Hollis Mason and he comes up in his actual self, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because the graphic novel didn't have that.
That was better than some of the director's cut scenes, but also, like Hollis Mason, he was still kicking ass. It actually felt good. I was like, oh yeah, get him! And then he loses, and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
No, it was good. I like
Yeah,
that. I
yeah.
like that part very well. I really liked how the violence in the film was portrayed, where these guys are really violent people. They're not your, shining armor superheroes. They're beating guys up, but nicely. No, they're beating the shit out of them. Blood's going everywhere, guts. Dr. Manhattan's just exploding these fuckers in the bar. He doesn't give a shit. None of these guys do.
It just goes all over the people.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing that I don't like is that it's so over dramatized.
Yeah.
It is like, you got your slow-mos and you got your like bone cracking and it's like, oosh, cool. And it's way over the top dramatized, where they could have made it, really gritty, fast-paced. Holy shit, look at that. Well, it's still going on, but they didn't do that. Yeah.
They could have stepped it down a few notches and it would have felt just as good, and it would have had a little more drama, and would have felt more like a great movie.
Some of the Rorschach scenes are actually done really well, because he's like the least slow-mo of it, because his is gritty and bloody, and you don't want to slow that axe chopping the head, that would just be horrible.
They did do a slow-mo scene with him when he's biting the guy's cheek off.
So just a little minor gripe I had with the Nixon character.
Oh,
his
yeah,
portrayal.
Nixon.
I did not like that fucking nose. It was just way too
I didn't
over
like
the top.
the cheeks. They might be really going for a realistic thing there, but it didn't look like
Oh
it.
god, it looks so plastered on, and I don't know if they were like trying to do like a Pinocchio thing. It was stupid. It was ridiculous. I know Nixon had a big nose, but Jesus Christ, it wasn't that fucking big.
The length of the movie could be considered a positive or a negative in this
Right.
case. One of the great things about this movie being long, as in the director's cut, is that they've got so much content to put into one movie.
Yeah.
It's almost overwhelming. Most movies that are this long have too little content, and so they just drag on. But this movie feels like it could have been a trilogy. It wouldn't have worked out that way. You
Yeah.
could never make this, and I think that's part of why fans said this could never be a movie, because it'd just be too fucking long.
Right,
There's too much to include. You've got Tales of the Black Freighter. You couldn't tell that story in the movie,
right.
but
Well,
they
they-
had a separate
yeah,
with Gerard Butler doing that.
Right. Oh, was it
Gerard-
Gerard Butler?
Yeah,
Oh,
Gerard Butler.
Oh,
yeah.
that's cool. Yeah.
What content here is bad content.
Yeah.
It might not all be great, but it's all good. But
Yeah.
I think it really worked.
And it's not like the longest movie ever. I mean, they
Right.
had like long movies in the 70s, and people were like, yeah, okay. But now it's like short attention spans. Fuck no, I don't want a long movie.
So music. We have varying opinions on
Yeah. I found that some of the music was distracting. The two songs on the top of my head that I didn't like in the film were Flight of the Valkyrie song and the Alleluia song when they were having sex. Even though that song was referenced in the comic graphic novel, I think, it was cheesy. It just, pulled me out. And the Flight of the Valkyries, why that one pulled me out was because it's definitely a direct reference to Apocalypse Now, and that pulled me out because I realized I was watching a film. And because they had it during the helicopter scene, and I was like, oh, the helicopter scene from Apocalypse Now, and no, that's cool, I'm watching a movie now, I'm not in this world. Like, I notice it way too much, and it just kicks me out of the film. I don't think I'm the only person.
The music in it all references the time periods that took place. Now, it's supposed to be a pop culture reference, which is why I think it works for this movie instead of hinders it. The thing I really love is the reference to the McLaughlin Group. Now, most of you young people might not know what the McLaughlin Group is, but they've been on the air for over 3 decades, and they're a political talk show. They just talk about random shit all the time. You can see SNL does sketch comedy of them.
Yeah.
But that was never in the graphic novel because the show was just coming on at the same time that the graphic novel came out. They are a staple of American culture. And to add that into the movie is like probably one of the best additions. They're talking about political events and you see the comedian just like, nope, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like so many people do that.
Yeah. Mine that I want to mention is when you see Adrian Veidt and he's looking at the TV screens and he's looking at Night Owl and Rorschach, you see like some of the movies that are being played, television shows. But what I like is there's Road Warrior right on the screen, like right there next to Night Owl and Rorschach, which is a great example for Adrian Veidt because he wants clean energy. And that's a great example because the Road Warrior is about like the collapse of civilization, and the only thing holding them together is oil and the gasoline and the fuel. And he doesn't want that. He wants a world independent of oil and gas. And I thought that was a cool thing that they threw in the movie.
You should tell us your favorite character in the comment section. Yeah. If you like this video, like, dislike, share, and subscribe.
That's funny.
We should really talk about the difference between the director's cut and the theatrical cut. Theatrical version and the director's cut.
You should start again.
We should really talk about the difference between
I'm sorry.
What
I'm
the
sorry.
fuck?
I'm sorry.
What the fuck?
I fucked that up. I apologize. I'm sorry. Do you want me to do it? Between the theatrical cut and the direct... We should really... Son of a bitch. I'm going to do it again. Theatrical cut and the director's cut. I know. I'll do it again. The discussion with... We should... All right, let's start over again, all right? The theatrical differences and the director's cut
Theatrical differences? What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, I know, I didn't say...
Theater major, can't fucking speak. Me, I'm just a sustainability major. We don't need to speak about shit.